Hey everyone, Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore. I'm going to do another investing video. Happy to have you watching, and as always, check out my blog, InvestFourMore.com, for I think I'm over 400 free articles now, tons of videos, lots of great information. Today, I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. Not really because it's fun, but because it's been some challenging experiences working with contractors. So when I buy rental properties, when I buy fix and flips, one of the reasons I can get such an awesome deal on those properties is because they need a lot of work. So whenever a house needs a lot of work, you've got to fix them. Either do it yourself or have a contractor come in, repair it for you. I am not a fan of doing the work myself. Doesn't mean I can't do it. Doesn't mean that it's not fun. But there's such a better use of your time than swinging a hammer, laying drywall. It's just not worth it to me. Back in 2006, I decided to pretty much do all the work on a flip myself. So I bought an old house. It was built around 1910. I went through it, tore out the kitchen, put in a brand new kitchen, tore out the bath, did the bath, painted everything, put in light fixtures, doors. I put in windows. I did a ton of work on this house. There were some things I had done, like electrical, some plumbing stuff that I wasn't qualified to do, but I did so much work, and my thought was, when I do the work myself, I'm going to save so much money because I won't have to pay a contractor, I won't have to pay a general contractor, I'm doing all this manual labor, I'm going to make so much more money because I'm doing it myself. And what ended up happening was it took me like 6 months to get this job done because it was just me doing it. I had one friend who was kind of sort of helping me out, but he had a job too, and it took me 3 times as long as a contractor, at least, probably more than that. And I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I had to learn as I went. So, I mean, I'd like to think I did a really good job fixing up this house, but honestly, a contractor would have done a better job. He would have had higher quality, got it done faster, and it just would have been a better home remodel job if a contractor had done it. So, it wasn't just the time it took. I did save some money on labor, but because it took so long to get the job done, I probably lost money in the long run. Plus, I lost so many opportunities because I wasn't out there looking for new flips. I wasn't out there selling houses as a real estate agent. I was consumed with getting this work done, and it sucked the life out of me. It was a horrible experience. I didn't end up making any money on the house because it took me so long to get it done. It just was not a good situation at all. Now, I learned a lot. I learned a ton about remodeling, about construction, which was nice. But it also taught me one really important lesson. Never do the work myself on a fix and flip again, or rental property, whatever it was. It's so much better to hire someone else, let them do it, let them get it fixed up. I can concentrate on other activities like buying flips, buying rental properties, selling houses as an agent. My time is much more valuable doing other things. All right. Now, if you do decide to use a contractor, which I really think you should, there's a couple ways to do it. You can use a subcontractor, plumbing, heating, electric, drywall, or you can use a general contractor. A general contractor will hire everybody out, kind of plan the project for you, schedule it all, makes it much easier, but they are also much more pricey. When you're able to hire the subs out yourself, you can save a ton of money because you don't have the general contractor, but you've got to have a lot of contacts. You've got to know electricians, you've got to know plumbers, you've got to know drywall guys, painters, roofers, foundation guys, many different things that go into a project. But if you can get to a point where you have all those contacts and you can kind of sort of schedule a job, it's probably worth it to be able to manage it yourself, or at least have someone on your team managing it, not hiring a general contractor to do all the work, because they will be very expensive. So, how do you find contractors? Well, that can be tough. I use Thumbtack, which is an awesome service, lists people, all kinds of contractors. I've used Angie's List. I use referrals from agents in my office, people I've worked with before, my broker even. I've looked on Craigslist a little bit, but Craigslist is a little scary because anybody can post an ad. You don't really know what you're getting. Really, what you want to do is find as many people to talk to and interview as you can. And once you interview them, start talking to them, you'll get a feel for who might be good, who might be bad. What you'll notice when you start contacting contractors is about 50% of them will actually return your phone call or email. So that automatically knocks 50% off the list. That's easy. Then you probably want to, talk to them on the phone, try and get an idea of if they know what they're talking about. See if you could get along with them. If you can't get along with them on the phone, you don't want them doing a job for you because you're going to have to communicate with them, going to have to talk to them. So if they do okay on the phone, meet them in person. You can meet them at a house you have a job for. You can have lunch with them. You just want to get to know them as much as you possibly can. See if you can get along with them. See if they seem to know what they're talking about, and go from there. So when you're trying to find out if a contractor knows what they're talking about, it's important that you have some idea what you're talking about too. So if you can get some kind of construction experience, or at least take notes when you're talking to contractors, see if they're telling you the same thing, you should be able to tell if they have some idea what they know. I mean, ask them about codes. You don't have to know the building codes yourself, but ask them about codes, ask them if they use permits, ask them if they get permits, ask them what their specialties are in. I try and shy away from people who are good at every single job, because that usually means they're not very good at any job. They just kind of sort of know how to do everything, which means you're going to get kind of a sort of okay remodel job instead of something that's really good. I like to see people who are really good at electrical and are honest with me and say, well, plumbing's not my thing, but I'm really good at electrical. Okay, cool. I'll find a plumber, no problem. Really good at plumbing? Great. Good at drywall? Awesome. Good at painting? All right. But I don't want someone who says, oh, I can do everything. No problem. I can handle that whole stuff. What you're going to find, they're not going to be good at everything. There's a small chance, but most people won't be good at everything. If they're general contractors, they'll just sub out the stuff they're not good at. But if they're just, a contractor, a couple of guys, they're not going to do a good job if they're doing everything on the job. It's going to take a really, really, really long time, because they're going to do the roof, then they're going to go do the plumbing, they're going to do the electric. And it's not going to be something that can happen at once. They're going to be, job to job to job to job. Or if you hire subs, say those contractors, okay, you guys can do drywall, you can do paint, you can put up light fixtures, you can remodel the kitchen. But while you're doing that, I'm going to have a roofer come out here, I'm going to have an electrician come out here, I'm going to have a plumber come out here, and you're going to get all those jobs done while that contractor's working, so that the contractor isn't taking 3 months to get the job done when you could have had it done in 1 month by subbing out the certain jobs, getting specialists in there to do the work. All right, but knowing if a contractor is good is really the heart of it all. And a lot of it is just trial and error, keeping on them. How much they charge can make a big difference. You will see a big variance. You'll see some guys charging $25 an hour all the way up to $85 an hour for contracting work. Usually, the guys I hire are around $35 an hour. Sometimes a little more depending on how good they are, how fast they are. But it's an expensive business. Those guys have to get paid to their job. If it's a bigger crew, they've got to get paid, plus they've got to pay their guys who are working. So it can be pricey getting these jobs done. If you're buying rental properties, if you're doing flips, I think, anything over $50 an hour is going to eat way into your profits, make it really hard to make any money. Those guys who are really charging the high dollar are usually doing the jobs for owner-occupants, primary residence people who are maybe get one job done every 10 years or something like that. They're not doing this as a business over and over and over again. And that's something to consider too, is if you are able to give these guys a lot of work, job after job after job, they should be giving you some type of discount, some kind of volume discount for what they're doing. All right, so it's really about feel when hiring a contractor, making sure you kind of like the guy, they know what they're talking about. Make sure you get a written bid every time. You want something in writing saying how much it's going to be. Make sure they include materials on that. I know some contractors who do their bids and it's all labor. It's like, well, what about materials? Oh, well, you pay for materials, or you bring, well, I don't know how much materials are going to cost. Isn't that your job as a contractor to find out? And like, oh, well, it's like, they should be able to tell you how much materials will cost, give you a bid for materials too. It shouldn't be on you, and that will come out. When paying the contractor, many of them will want money up front. It's hard to get away from that. I do never pay them everything up front. Never, never, never do that. Sometimes you can buy their materials to start with to get them started. Sometimes if you really trust them, you can pay them a quarter of the job or something to get going, and then draft money, once they're halfway through, maybe you can give them some more money, but don't pay them for stuff before it's done. That just asks for trouble all the time. If you can get into a relationship where they trust you, they've got a good crew going, they're in a good financial situation, it's always nice if you can hire them and then pay them when they're done with the job. That's ideal, but that's not always possible in this business. All right, so how did I get into serious trouble with contractors? I've been doing this for a long time. I've had some really good contractors, some really bad contractors as well. I've had some awesome contractors who did work for me for years and years and years and then just fell apart. So you cannot just hope your contractors will do everything right. You've really got to check up on them, and we'll get into that later. But contractors, they start getting a lot of jobs. They get lazy. They get dollar signs in their eyes. They think they can start charging more. The biggest problems I've had with contractors is they hired people to do work. They didn't keep track of those people. They assumed stuff was getting done. It wasn't getting done. They told me it was getting done. I go to the properties. It's not getting done. So you've got to keep track of these guys. Make sure the work's getting done. You can't just rely on them. The other major thing that I got into a huge problem with was last year I thought it'd be a great idea to hire a project manager, run all my flips, run all my rental property rehabs, save me a ton of time. I don't have to deal with driving to properties all the time, talking to contractors all the time. And I hired a guy who was a contractor and he had corporate management experience running a big crew at a pretty big company. I thought he'd be a perfect fit, liked the guy. He said he could do the job. I hired him as a full-time employee. He was excited, said, no problem, I'll get all this done. He's actually worried that I wouldn't have enough work for him full-time. I'm like, don't worry, I can give you enough work. Had high hopes for him. And long story short, after a few months, things weren't getting done quite as quickly as I thought, I hoped. We had a lot of talks, discussions, like, oh, don't worry, you had a lot of properties, we're working through it, we're making progress, I'm getting systems set up. My whole idea was to have a lot of subs working. He would manage all the subs, get everything going like that. And I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing him using, a few contractors who did everything, all the work again, not hiring the subs out. So I'm like, okay, this is what I want. I want these subs. Like, oh, no problem. We'll get that done. No worries. A couple months later go by. Same thing. Stuff is going really slow. He's not really hiring any subs. He's not hiring any more contractors. I talked to him again. He's like, well, I'm just worried we don't have enough work if I hire more contractors or subs. I'm like, are you serious? I have like 4 houses waiting for us to work on. They're just sitting there, not getting done, and you're worried that we won't have enough work for them. I've never been in a place in my career where I didn't have enough work for contractors. Never. So I'm like, don't worry about that. Hire them. Get them done. We need to get these jobs fast. Like, okay, no problem. We got it. I'm on it. I'll get everything done, hired. A couple more months go by. Same thing. Nothing's going on. I'm like, okay, we're done. It's obvious this isn't working out. Maybe you can do a job for me as a contractor. You've got this crew that you've hired and working with you. I'll let you bid a job. After we were in transitioning, leaving, I started checking out my houses, looking at the stuff he'd done. It was horrible, a mess. I mean, he's really, really good at demoing, at tearing out my kitchens, tearing out my baths, and then leaving a giant mess, and then not fixing anything. It was taking him 3 months to finish the rehab on houses. It should have taken 3 weeks. He wasn't communicating with contractors. Contractors were coming to me to get paid. I'm like, what are you coming to me for? I have no idea what you're supposed to be paid. I have no idea what's going on. That's what I hired this guy for. And it was a huge mess. I talked to my property manager who's on my team. He said he'd asked him to do some work on rentals. He's like, oh yeah, no problem. We'll get that done. Didn't do any of it. Just didn't do it. I'm like, what did you do with the time and the money I spent on you? And long story short, it was my fault that this happened. Obviously there are better people and worse people in jobs and in life, whatever. But if they're working for you, you can't just expect them to blindly do everything you want, and you can't trust them to do everything you want. You've got to have systems in place, ways to communicate with them, make sure they're doing the stuff they're supposed to be doing, and give them a way to succeed. So I talked about keeping tabs on your contractors, making sure they're doing stuff well. You cannot hire a contractor, hope they do a job, and never visit the property, never check on them, never keep tabs on them. You have to check on them all the time. So what I am doing for the future, for this year, on my flips, on my rentals, my team is going to manage the contractors now. So we're going to have a master list of subcontractors, people who are specialized in everything, keep notes on them, tabs on how good they do. And then I'm gonna have inspection done on every house before I buy it. So, or after I buy it, not for me to negotiate the price when I buy it or anything like that, for me to know exactly what needs done so we can schedule the contractors, because that's the other thing. Stuff was not getting done on these houses, and they'd be put up for sale, and the inspection would come back. I'm like, we've got a 25-year-old hot water heater in this house. It's supposed to be completely rehabbed. I mean, that is just ridiculous. That makes me look bad. It's horrible. So, yeah, a lot of stuff happened with this guy. So we're having an inspection done beforehand so I can see everything that needs done, check it all off, have an inspection done afterwards so we can make sure it's all done, see if there's anything we missed. Then when I put up for sale, say, hey, we already pre-inspected home, got everything taken care of, all the issues were fixed. Awesome place for you to live in. The other thing we're going to be doing, of course, at least twice a week, we will be checking on houses, driving by them, seeing what work is being done, seeing the progress, and checking up on the contractors who are supposed to be working twice a week. Unless they're there doing their job, we can talk to them. You cannot leave houses unattended for weeks and weeks. The contractors will think you don't care. They'll start doing other jobs. They won't do stuff very fast. But if you're there all the time, if you're calling and say, hey, why aren't you guys working today? You're supposed to be doing this job. You show up all the time, and they know they better be there. They know they better be working hard if they want to keep working for you. So you have to keep tabs on them. If you see problems, you have to take care of them right away. You can't just hope things get better week after week, month after month. It's better to fire someone sooner, get someone else in there, than to keep stringing the jobs along, hoping things get better, shelling out more money. It's better to fix a problem sooner than later. A lot of this comes with experience. A lot of it comes with just doing it, hiring people, and learning from your mistakes, learning from what works well. So there's a lot that goes into hiring contractors. It's a very important thing to keep tabs on, to work with. And yeah, hope this video helped. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave a comment. You can always email me too, mark@investformore.com. I'm hoping my contracting business, not business, but work, gets done much better this year with the new system we have in place, with inspections, with hiring out more subs. I can tell you in the few short weeks we've been doing stuff since we changed people around, it's already 10 times better than it was. It was not hard. It's not rocket science to do this stuff. It just takes systems, people willing to work hard. All right, thanks a lot. And of course, check out InvestFourMore.com.